difference between Atma and Paramatma. Paramatma is the innermost self. So begin with body and go on negating. You arrive at a point where there is no negation possible. This is called Ashesha Nishedha Avadhi. So Ashesha Nishedha Sheshaha Paramatma. That is the Paramatma, innermost self. But Atma, people make mistake of identifying with the body. Then body becomes Atma. Identify with the mind, mind becomes Atma. Identify with the intellect, that becomes Atma. Like that, this Atma has many meanings. Whereas Paramatma has only one meaning. But in Vedanta we use Atma to mean the same as Paramatma in many contexts. Okay? So Atma cha Brahma. Shankara. Their Atma is Paramatma. So where there is a mistake and you take the mistake into account, then the Atma becomes something else, but otherwise it is Paramatma only. Significance of immersing ashes and bones in rivers and oceans. Generally, the beliefs associated with birth and death, they come under the domain of religious customs and beliefs, whereas they do not come under the category of Vedanta. We may still talk about them, because in Vedanta there is no birth and death, and body is not the Atma. Body is not even a thing, it is an idea in the mind. Therefore, so this is the stand we have to take. Having said that, then what is the best way of disposing the body scientifically? Cremation. In every other way there is some problem, but in cremation there is no problem. But the sannyasa, that is a different topic, that is not the topic now. So after cremation ashes are left. Now, you cannot cremate ashes anymore. You have to do with them. You have to merge in earth. You can put it into field, or you can put it into river. So there is a belief that by taking bath in river you acquire punyam and all that while living. So after death also the same thing is merged in the ocean, that adds to the punyam, the person will go to punyaloka, etc. That is how belief systems are there. You can still derive a significant message from that, namely, what came from the earth and waters of the creation is put back into the earth and waters of the creation. It came from there and it went back there. That is the message. You can take it like that. So I have tried to give some significance to it.
Swamiji, you just, I don't know if I heard correctly, you said Atma and Paramatma in most cases are same. So are there, what cases are there when they are different?
You see, like ghee and pure ghee. Like in the US, ghee and pure ghee are one and the same. But in Rishikesh they may not be same. Okay? Similarly, in those contexts where Atma is not contaminated or confused with Anatma, Atma means Paramatma only. While taking classes, tell us the meaning of the Sanskrit words and explain, for us it is easy to follow. I am doing that, sir. I am doing that. Only you have missed it. For example, you take this present verse that is going on. Every single word I have discussed. Maybe you have forgotten. Because the verse is a third class or fourth, it took 3 classes or so. The first class, grammar, meaning, everything was said. You want me to say every class or every day like that? I will try. So, every word is said, kaya, vak, manaha, karyam, uttamam, I made you say also. Kaya karyam ut, something like that. And I explained everything. But still you have a right to ask. I will keep this in mind when I come to the next verse tomorrow. Hinduism is a way of life, not a religion. They say like that. It depends upon in which context you are using the word Hinduism. Like Atma. Atma can mean a few things. It can mean the supreme reality also. Should we open the door also? So that some cross ventilation, etc. will be there. Yeah, thank you very much. So, Hinduism is like United Nations of religions, or multiple belief systems are included in Hinduism. It is a spectrum. It is not one belief. It is a spectrum of beliefs, starting from one extreme to the other extreme. On one extreme you have Shunyavada or Nastikavada. Nastikavada is not Shunyavada really. Shunyavada is one extreme. I put Buddhism also into Hinduism, okay? And on the other extreme you have Advaita. And in between, all shades of philosophical thought, schools of thought, religions, beliefs, everything is there in it. Therefore, you cannot define in Constitution how you know how Hinduism is defined. 25, Article 25B, something like that. They say a Hindu is one who is not a Muslim, who is not a Christian. Like that it is defined in the Constitution. You may refer to the Constitution. 1880. So, therefore, when this nature of Hinduism is noticed, then instead of defining it as a religion, they defined it as a way of life. Somebody said that. It sounds quite meaningful. Some people object to it also. I know at least one gentleman who doesn't like it.
Even I don't like it.
Okay. It's okay. Now I know two gentlemen. What is your take on it in the light of today's discourse? I told you. Already I have told. My take is already in it. It is a spectrum. Hinduism is a spectrum. Not one religion, not one belief system. And therefore, and if somebody wants to call it a way of life, I don't mind. Because it is not necessarily one particular belief. It's a way of life, very inclusive and all that, because it is pluralistic in its very nature, and therefore one more belief can be easily added. Many Mahatmas have done that. Mahatmas like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Malayala Swami, Puttaparthi Sai Baba, like that great Mahatmas, they have included. They have said we have 33 crore devatas, one more devata doesn't make any difference. So they included Christ, Mary, etc. They have included. They don't mind. They put like that. The Malayala Swami's symbol will have Christianity also on it. Puttaparthi Baba was also like that. They are no more. Of course, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is a very world known. Everywhere known that he included in his vision the other religions also. Therefore, it is no more a religion, it is very inclusive. In that sense, it is called a way of life. Therefore, there is a way of saying it, that way also you can say. What is Gatha knowledge? Could you explain? G-A-T-H-A. Ghata knowledge is pot knowledge, pot cognition. It is called Ghata Jnana. Pot cognition. It is not knowledge, but cognitions are called knowledge. So you cognize the sarpam where it is not there and call it sarpa jnana. Ghata Jnana is not very different from it. So there is no jnana in that. That's why I translate it as Ghata cognition. Instead of saying it Ghata knowledge, I call it Ghata pot cognition. So there the word Jnanam is understood as cognition. So that is what it is. Brahman is one without a second. How can we say Vedas are eternal? Vedas are not eternal. Brahman is eternal. Vedas are not eternal. In Bhagavatam there is a section called Vedastutihi. The Vedas praise the glory of Ishvara. The Vedas glory, praise. So that means you have personified Vedas. So Vedas stand up and stand before God and praise the glory of God. This is called Vedastutihi. Also called Shruti Gita or Gitaha, Bahuvachanam. Like Bhagavad Gita only. So in that there is a verse, I don't remember the verse exactly, but there is a verse in which the Vedas say, even we do not exist outside of you. Now having praised your glory, lo behold, we are coming and merging in you. That is what they say. Therefore, anything is unreal if it stands apart from Brahman. And once it merges in Brahman, now it has merged in the real. Now you cannot say it is real. Brahman is real. The water is real. Now wave has merged in the water and now wave is real. You cannot say like that. Wave has merged in water and water is real. Wave was never different from water. Good. Wave has merged in water. Good. Wave has emerged out of water. Good. Water is real. Good.
But we say Vedas are Apaurushayam.
Apaurushaya means like Newton saw the fruit falling from the tree. And the law of gravity was not there in the mind. It was not there in the mind. Because mind is memory, which is the known. And before that he did not know law of gravity. Therefore, law of gravity was not part of the known. Therefore, law of gravity came to Newton from a source deeper than mind. Right? Therefore, it is Apaurushaya. And Newton is a rishi. Like that. So, when you speak the truth, it is coming from a source deeper than mind. Okay? When you speak some silly things or unreal things, it is coming from the mind. Like that. Aham Brahmasmi doesn't come from mind. If you put it in the mind as an idea, then it comes from the mind as a speech. Whereas as a vision, it comes from a source deeper than the mind. You see, I say like that because there is a significance in saying like that. Look at yourself, and if I say, you tell me whether I am wrong. If I say that you live an entire life being identified with the body-mind as if you are body-mind alone and nothing more, like that you live. You should not. There is something deeper than the mind, which we call Atma. Therefore, first be informed in yourself there is something deeper than the mind. First be informed about it, and you investigate, you look into it. And there are a few things which come from that source deeper than the mind. 1,000 things come from the mind, but suddenly one thing comes from a source deeper than the mind. So that way you know that there is something deeper than the mind. I don't want to define it. I don't want to conclude this is such and such. No conclusions, no definitions. It defies all conclusions and definitions. That's why we use the language which is entirely suggestive, not descriptive or conclusive. Suggestive only. I did not say what is that source, because I will not be able to say what is that source in words. So you cannot know it from my words, but you can reach it by investigation. That's why the Guru's words are compared with the pointing finger. And those who worship the pointing finger, miss the moon. That is also said in that context. What value you place on religion as a way of preserving spiritual knowledge? I don't know how. Maybe you have a point there. I try to see that point. So I look at it this way. Instead of calling religion as a way of preserving spiritual knowledge, instead of calling that way, because then what you will do, we are preserving spiritual knowledge बोल के सब कुछ लगा देते हैं. You put everything into it, saying that we are preserving spiritual knowledge. Not like that. There are certain elements in the religion which take you towards the spiritual knowledge, and you keep them intact. Don't lose them. Keep them. So, Nitya karma is like that. Naimittika karma is like that. And karma performed without an end in view is like that. Karma comes under the category of religion. But karma performed without the end in view means the religious motive, the motive of religious actions, which is the desire or fear, are kept aside. But doing the karma is not kept aside, it is retained. Therefore, you say, don't say religion preserves spiritual knowledge. You don't need to preserve spiritual knowledge. You need to gain it and be liberated. Don't try to preserve and all that. You are talking two big things. There is the prime mover which preserves. Truth is not preserved by you and me. Need not be preserved by you and me. Truth stands on its own. Satyameva jayate na anurutam. Anurutam you have to preserve. Truth and falsehood were walking in evening on the beach. There was a discussion between truth and falsehood. Truth said to falsehood, you cannot do anything to me. I am true. I am the truth. What is myself. You do not even exist. What can you do to me? You cannot do anything to me. That is what the truth said to the falsehood. Then the false said, I can organize you. Therefore, don't use that kind of thing. You need not preserve truth. Okay? You learn the truth and be free. So, having said that, those elements of religion which help you move forward, you can say they help reach the spiritual knowledge. Sometimes like Sahakari Karanam, etc. ऐसा बोलते हैं. Okay? So you have to be very cautious about it. In India, in the last millennium, an unfortunate development has taken place. And maybe the Abrahamic faiths have influenced this development to some extent also. That is how some of the critics feel. And the Silk Route and all that must have contributed to this development. This development is, instead of uplifting the religion to spiritual level, they have brought spirituality to the level of a belief system, to the level of a religion, sometimes not so worthy a religion also. The questionable level of religion, the spirituality is brought down. When you mix the higher and the lower will not be uplifted, but the higher will be brought down. That happened to spirituality, Advaita Vedanta, in the Indian society. It happened. Yeah. But then that is how I am not complaining, I am not unhappy about it. Because this is how the civilizational movements are. But then there is a renaissance too. A renaissance which was initiated by Vivekananda and taken forward by Swami Ramatirtha Nisargadatta Maharaj, Ramana Maharshi. So the Renaissance also is there. The prime mover is taking care of everything.
Can we say that really helps in Chittasiddhi?
I discussed that. How karma contributes to Chitta Shuddhi. I have discussed that. You see, you perform a religious action with a motive that doesn't contribute to Chitta Shuddhi. In fact, that adds to the impurity of the mind. You perform Nitya Karma without being attached to the result thereof. That helps purify the mind.
Nitya Karma relates to religion only. Nitya Karma relates to religion.
Nitya Karma is, you see, you may say like that. Yeah, I agree with you. Does a student of Vedanta need to learn other philosophies like Sankhya, Western philosophy, Purva Mimamsa, etc.? You see, as a student of Vedanta, you should be well informed in many areas of interest related to Vedanta. And Sankhya philosophy you have to understand, because there is a Sankhya in you. You take the world to be insentient and you are caught in a cause-effect relationship thinking. This is called the principle of causality. So people are bound in a cell made up of three walls: space, time and causality. So you are constantly looking for causes. This is the Sankhya in you. And Sankhya is always looking for causes and the transformations and the time. That is what a Sankhya is. That is the bread and butter of a Sankhya. Cause, transformation, time and effect. That is how. And such a Sankhya is in you. And therefore you should study the Sankhya refutation so that the Sankhya within you will vanish. There is a Purva Mimamsaka in you. It is not that there is a tribe called Purva Mimamsaka and Shakara doesn't like them and therefore he refutes them. Not like that. There is a Purva Mimamsaka in every one of us and we have to rise above that. We believe that karma will uplift us. Karma kim param, karma tajjadam. Somebody has to say that to you. Otherwise you assume that karma will take you to moksha. So, therefore, this kind of a study is important. Then you should not be like a frog in the well. This anecdote narrated by Swami Vivekananda in the Parliament of Religions. It is my nature to give the quote, to tell the source for two reasons. One, it is not my story. Two, I feel good to refer to the source. So, there was a well in which there was a frog. There was a spate. Heavy rains were there. The river was in spate. There was a flood. And from a frog from the ocean, it by mistake it swept into the river and from there it came into the well. Now the flood is over. Now there are two frogs, the original small frog and the big frog, which came from the ocean. Then the small frog asked the big frog, "You seem to be an outsider." He said, "Yes." "Where did you live before coming here?" The big frog said, "I lived in ocean." Then the well frog asked, "What is an ocean?" The other frog said, "It is a big body of water." "How big it is?" "It is very big." Then this frog takes a leap from this side to that side. "Is it this big?" Like that. So don't be like that, for God's sake. You are all highly qualified people. So you should have an open mind. Mahatma Gandhi said, "I stand in my room, open all the windows, and allow wind from all sides to come into the room. Only I don't want to be swept away by the wind. That is what Mahatma Gandhi said. So he has added a conditionality there, that he should not be swept away. But Veda did not even put that condition. Ano bhadrah kratavo yantu vishvatah. That is how Veda looked at it. All auspicious thoughts may come from all directions to me. Therefore, when you expand your horizon, you should not be like a person who is imprisoned in a room and looking out through the glass window. You should not be like that person. You should be open to the sky, to the space, and you should study Western philosophy. I was saying in one conference, I did not see anybody between Shankara and Einstein who said space and time are they constitute a continuum. Only Shankara said in Dakshinamurti Stotram and in other bhashyas, and Einstein said. In between I did not see anybody who said that kind of a statement. I feel proud to say that. How could I say that? Because I studied what Einstein said to some extent. Then in a conference, please don't mind my saying like this, in a conference I presented a paper comparing mainly drawing parallels between Shankara and Voltaire, the French philosopher. I could do that, because I was reading Voltaire as a part of another book, The History of Philosophy by Will Durant. And in that there is a chapter on Voltaire. Some 70-80 pages chapter in such a book. And I was reading that chapter, it was so inspiring. And immediately I started jotting notes and made a paper comparing Shankara's philosophy with Voltaire. So, I'm not saying about me, please understand. I'm saying the speaker does not matter. Just I'm trying to highlight or illustrate the point. You should be very open. Vidyaranya Swami, the great Acharya of Vedanta, wrote a book called Sarvadarshana Sangraha, in which he has collected the essence of all schools of thought without making any comment about them. And he begins it with Charvaka Darshanam. He calls it Darshanam, a school of thought, by the Rishi Charvaka. Why is called Charvaka? Charuvaka. Who goes away? Like Suvarga becomes Swarga. So his words are so sweet to hear that worldly people love to hear it to Charvaka. That is the Charuvaka. And therefore started with that. And then it goes on and on, all the darshanas, schools of thought that he knew within India at that time, he put there. And we take that book and study. So some people are afraid, that if they study for 2 years or so, some 5 or 6 books, and not the entire book also, 1 or 2 chapters, selected chapters from a few books. Maybe some books are studied all of it, that much they study, and now they put a hedge around them and say, we don't want to study anything more than this. Because all the truth is contained within this, we have the truth already with us. Then why should you not study a little more? No, because we don't want to be disturbed in our truth. I did not exaggerate. I exactly presented the viewpoint. I feel sorry. It should not be like that. Please don't be like that. We say there is a habit of any printed word you come across, you read it. Suppose some wind comes and there is a lot of lettering in India, so they throw papers this here and there, and one paper is floating. I caught hold of it and then started reading it and see what it contains. Sometimes you never know, very inspiring thought can come. Should be open like space. Space doesn't say, don't come near me. A student of Vedanta, Sankhya. You should know all these philosophies. Purvamamsa, there is a Purvamamsa in you, you should know that. In fact, when they study some of these texts without knowing anything about Purvamamsa, Mimamsa, Nyaya, it looks silly. Like even in Chatussutri, there is Adhikruta Adhikara, that is a Purvamamsa thing. Then Hridayasya Yatyatha Jifaya Athavakshasah, like that mantra is quoted by Shankara in Jijnasa Adhikara. You will look askance, look up and down if you don't know Purvamamsa. If you know a little Purvamamsa, you can make a lot of sense out of it. So you should study one basic text of Purvamamsa, Artha Sangraha. If you study it, you will know what was there in the Veda, Karma Kanda, what was there, you will know. And a few surprises are waiting for you also if you care to study. So you will be taken aback sometimes, my God, like that. So if you don't know, then you say Veda. Veda, what Veda? Veda is a word. You should delve deep into it because you claim to be a student. How does they help become an obstacle? They don't become an obstacle. If at all, if it is worthwhile, it will help. Otherwise, it will go away. It doesn't become an obstacle. The brain is a computer. It eliminates its own unnecessary files. Automatically, it takes away some unnecessary files. You should believe in your wisdom and study well. Comment about holy. Some of these ceremonies and celebrations, whether they have a meaning in culture, the social life, etc., you have to think about it. But from a Vedantin's point of view, ceremonies and celebrations are not helpful. And we were advised by Shri Krishna, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Jana Samsati. Very positive and negative both. So you don't want to become one among a dancing, shouting, jumping the crowd. For God's sake, don't do such thing. Then on a holy day in Hyderabad, everything is closed. Holiday is given to government offices also. But when I was young those days, there was one eye hospital, government eye hospital, called Sarojini Devi Eye Hospital. That it was open, all the doctors were on duty, and it was functioning 24 hours on holy day because all these people get this poisonous stuff into the eyes, the colored stuff, which was sold on the roadside by people and purchased by people and thrown on each other, and the eyes get swollen. They come to the emergency. The whole hospital is busy treating all these guys. What kind of a festival it is? The most unscientific, unruly, rowdy kind of festival. And if I say this, if somebody heard it, they will beat me tomorrow when I was walking there. So why do you ask such questions and put words in my mouth? Don't you like me living peacefully or what? I don't know about history and all that. Some people say the Kamadahana. I told you, they spun a story around Kamadahana and destroyed the spirit of Kamadahana. Kamadahana is Prajahate yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. That is the Kamadahana. And third eye is the Jnana Netram. Kama is the desire. That is the Kamadahana. There is no other Kamadahana. That is the only Kamadahana. But the wrong message about these Puranic stories was put into the minds of the people so deep. A wrong message has gone so deep into the society that a maverick comes and talks about it, sounds odd. Therefore, you have to think about these things. Expand upon removing the personality. removing that by which everything else has been removed, which you say is the last step. I have expanded upon it rather elaborately in one of the classes in the first camp. I will do it one more time. Okay, I'll come to it. It is not a satsang question. It takes half an hour or so. I'll come to it. It will appear now. Already I have said the true religion is that in which the egoity merges and gone. And also I said the anxiety for moksha is personal. It belongs to the person. And the person is a false entity. Therefore, as long as you keep the anxiety for moksha going on, you keep the person intact, and therefore moksha will not be there. Because the moksha is not for the person, moksha is from the person. So this much I already said. So for the satsanga question, that answer is good enough. And one time I will discuss it further. We will come across, it is coming, we will come across. Recap by the first verse of Upadesha Saram shows Ramana as a traditionalist. See, you make these artificial divisions, traditionalist. And there is sometimes the division is motivated also. Like you don't like Vedanta, whosoever you don't like Vedantin, call him a neo-Vedantin. Why should you call like that? Nisargadatta Maharaj is a neo-Vedantin. Suppose you say that. Suppose Shivam Amangalam Pratihatamustu. You call like that a great man like Nisargadatta Maharaj. I am apologetic on behalf of those people who give such names. I am apologetic on their behalf. You should not call like that. You see what they say, what the person says is, don't go about biography. This biography is a nuisance. Don't go for it. Go by the teaching. And if it fits into the vision, it doesn't matter whether it came 1,000 years back, source, or it is yesterday's source. What does it matter? It doesn't matter. If Eckhart Tolle is saying some nice things, his entire emphasis is on dissolving the personality. Eckhart Tolle. You should give credit to him for that. Muji, his entire focus is on Atma, Anatma, Viveka. You should give credit to him for that. There are many such great thinkers all over the world. Knowledge has no boundaries. Your mind has boundaries, but not knowledge. Therefore, you should be very open and... So, Ramana, a traditionalist in the sense, maybe I said like that, in a particular sense. There is an opinion that Ramana did not study Shastra. You look at that. Yeah. One day, Ramana Maharshi was studying a book. And somebody asked him, Maharshi, what book it is? He said, I am studying my biography. And they kept quiet. And then the satsang was over and the book was kept on the table and he walked away. Then somebody peeped at that book. It was Kenopanishad. Now what will you do now? So, without knowing anything, giving labels is not proper. The very first verse proves that Ramana was speaking the language of Sri Krishna, the first 3 verses, and he was mounting a direct revolt against the Purvamimamsakas. That is what the first 3 verses bring out. Even the very first verse. He knew what Purvamimamsa is talking about. Much more than some of these corn market Vedantins. He knew and he refuted it right away. We should. That is what I mean. You just, I say some expressions, take it easy.
Swamiji, Kalidasa's one shloka from Madhavakagni, what is old?
Okay, I know, I remember, I should remember that shloka. There is the shapam for the third line, but still I should be able to remember that shloka. Puranamityeva na sadhu sarvam na chapi kavyam navamityavadyam santah parikshyanyatarad bhajante modhah parapratyaya buddhi. That is the verse. So, just because a book or a poem is old doesn't become great. Just because something is written yesterday or day before yesterday, very new, doesn't become inferior. Good people examine a book, whether it is old or new. They don't get carried away by these labels. They examine the content. And whatever is good, they take it. Anyatarat. New also they examine, old also they examine, and if the old is good, they accept old, they take old. The new is good, they take the new. Bhajate, seva, they pursue that. Mudhaha parapratyaya buddhi. The people who don't know how to think, they are always guided by somebody else's thought. So he doesn't think for himself or by himself. He just borrows somebody else's thought. These are the ignorant people. Mudhaha is a deluded person. That is how they are. This is what Kalidasa says in Madhavakagnimitram. That is a play. Kalidasa wrote 3 plays. Abhijnana Shakuntalam. One verse I already told you. Yasrishti Srashtukatiya. Then Madhavakagnimitram and Vikramorvashiyam. That is the third. Ramatirtha. What book on Swami Ramatirtha would you recommend? There is only one book. You want a book on Swami Ramatirtha? That is the question. Why on Ramatirtha? Why not by Ramatirtha? So you purchase the book. It is a series of 7 volumes. In the Woods of God Realization. You purchase that set. In the first volume, in the introduction, Purana Malla, some devotee of Ramatirtha, he gave a short biographical sketch of Ramatirtha. So that is the book on Ramatirtha, which is part of Ramatirtha's entire teaching. And also I have come across, I don't remember the name and all that, I have come across a wonderful treatise on Ramatirtha's teaching by a scholar who submitted a dissertation on Ramatirtha's teachings to a university, and he was awarded PhD. And I was going through the dissertation. I found it is very, very well written. So that is on Ramatirtha. I don't remember the name of that. Puram Singh, something like that.
Yeah,
Puran Singh, yeah. That is in the Woods of God Realization itself. And then I talked about another dissertation. There must be quite a few dissertations. I came across one and read it. Very inspiring.
Tirtha books are also available online and it's free.
Yeah, that is an important point. You can download. And what happened, volume 1 I was missing and I wanted it. Then I have downloaded volume 1 and printed all of it and kept it with me. So some such thing you can do. The better thing will be just to go and purchase one set. Yeah. In India, there is a place where if you write to them, they will send, I think. Lucknow, yeah. And in America, try Amazon.com. You may get a second-hand set.
Ramatirtha Pratishthan.
Yeah, Swami Ramatirtha Pratishthan. It will be available. Yeah. Here also they must be available.
So it is available in Karol Bagh, Delhi?
Karol Bagh, yeah. Many places it is available. Can it be bought from Shivananda Ashram? I am not sure. Shivananda Ashram has a bookstore.
Nowhere in Rishikesh.
Not here. You have to make some effort to get it. because they are not as popular as some of these religious books are. Can one realize God, attain liberation only by chanting God's Nama sincerely and with full devotion? You see, Telisi Ramanamamu Sejave Manasa, Tyagaraja, Ramachintana Cheyave Manasa. Telisi Ramachintanato Namamu Sejave Manasa, something like that. Therefore, Tyagaraja begins with Telisi, means knowing, knowledge. Knowledge liberates. Nama, constant chant of Nama with devotion can lead to knowledge. Yes, it can. There is a value for it. You may try. But Telisi becomes very significant. Knowing. In this regard, I want to bring to your attention a Mahatma called Swami Ramadas. I have not seen such a great philosopher when it comes to Vedanta. No, Samatrandas is great. I am not saying that. More recent than that. Oh, he is called Papa? Not Guruji's Guru, so Muji's Guru. Ramdas, yeah. Swami Ramdas is his name. Maybe he is called Papa. Anandas. He is the kingpin of Vedanta.
His name is Punja. Not Guruji's Guru. That's different. Punja is different.
Swami Ramdas, Anandas, greatest of Vedantic philosophers. And he integrated the Vedantic wisdom with the name of Rama. But his Rama is not Kodanda Rama. He is not Dasharatha Rama. He is not Kausalya Rama. He is not Sita Rama. That is all relations, humanized. His Rama is Ramachandra Parabrahmane Namaha. That is his Rama. I was told, I am not sure, that when he was there, in where the chant was done, there was no photograph of Rama, there was no idol of Rama. Only Nama. And then the entire vision of Upanishads and Gita comes along with it. Therefore, you take to Nama. Nama has a value. But together with the knowledge of Atma. Bhagavatam emphasizes Namam Smarana. The Namasmarana which Bhagavatam emphasizes should be taken in this spirit. Just now what I have, that way you have to take. Don't put this spirit, then it becomes belief system again. Regarding people who undertake distribution of Bhagavad Gita, it is okay, people want to do something, people chikirsavaha, not jijnasavaha. They don't want to study Gita, they want to distribute Gita. Now, is it good or bad? You want to put words in my mouth? I don't allow that. Now you tell me distribution of Gita is good or bad. It is obviously good. Distribution of chocolates, is it good or bad? It is bad.